أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعه وله وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد, the examples of change from the Qur'an, and tonight we are still with Surah Yusuf alayhi salam. Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam. We talked about how the change happened with Sayyidina Yaqub alayhi salam through the surah, how the change happened with the brothers of Yaqub. How about the change with the wife of Al-Aziz? After Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam was brought to Egypt and he was sold as a slave, and then he is at the house of Al-Aziz, like the minister of Minister of Treasury, or Minister of all the resources, like agriculture and all of that. They took Sayyidina Yusuf. He's a slave, but they took him as a child, like as adopted. When Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam became a young man, mashallah, very handsome, and then the wife of Al-Aziz tried to seduce him. And we know the story. So the beginning here is when the husband told the wife, let's take him as a child. So this is someone here raised in a house as her own child. Then the shaitan played with her head and she tried to commit sin with him. He rejected and resisted, alayhi salam. Then she took the wrong ground and she lied. So sin number one, she tried to do haram, zina. She failed. Step number two, she accused him wrongly and she lied to cover her own tracks. And then she was proven wrong. Even though she was proven wrong and kind of known what happened, covered it up. The aristocrats and the people, rich people in the town, and all of that, so it's covered it up. But she insisted. When the women started blaming her, she insisted to prove to them that she had the right to do that. They came and they saw him. They did the same thing. They said, wow, we would like to do that too. He rejected. He ended up in jail. Years after, the kingship changed and the whole structure of ruling in Egypt changed. And then Sayyidina Yusuf was summoned to come from the jail. When he was summoned to come from the jail, and he insisted that he will not come out unless he become innocent, and he will be announced innocent, and his innocence has to be shown to everybody. They went to the jail and got him after they agreed. They brought the wife of Al-Aziz at that time and the other women. They said, we did not do anything. He's right. So she confessed. قالت الآن حصحص الحق. Now, truth comes out. What happened through this time? The story does not tell us that how come she came out and she announced his innocence, which proves her guilt. And she incriminated herself like this. Maybe she became a believer. Her husband died, or she became a believer. She's older now, about 10 years later, or more actually. 10 years. Yeah, بضع سنين, يعني 3 to 9 years, 9 years. And then she comes and say, الآن حصحص الحق. Today the truth came out. أنا راودته عن نفسه وإنه لمن الصادقين. ذلك لمن ليعلم أني لم أخنه بالغيب وأن الله لا يهدي كيد الخائنين. Allah will never guide the efforts of those who betray. That is the change. Change happened from she tried to commit a sin, she accused him, she covered her tracks, she bring the women, they do all of these bad things. You see, this is where she was. Someone not only wanting to do the sin, like bluntly covering it, bluntly admitting it and covering it and insisting on it. And now someone humble who admit their mistake and said, Allah will never, never, ever guide the kaid of al-kha'inin. وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي إِنَّ النَّفْسَ لَأَمَّارَةٌ بِالسُّوءِ. I was bad. My bad self led me to this. Shaitan led to this. And he was right, and I am wrong, and all of that. So that's a change also that took place at the time of Yusuf. So in summary, al-haq is haq. Truth is truth. Whether you admit it, it is going to come out sooner or later, whether you are alive or after you die. It will come out. So it's better to admit it, better to confess, better to stop, and better to adopt al-haq before it brings you down and you become humiliated. May Allah make us among those who follow haqq with dignity, follow al-haqq with integrity, follow al-haqq regardless what happens. Walhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We continue with Surah Yusuf, and the next time with Sayyidina Yusuf himself, and to see the change that happened in his life through the stages. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.